Welcome to my class. I'm Sheila May Simonido, your English teacher for today. Let's start our day with a prayer. Miss Rolda, please lead us. Amen. Thank you for that solemn prayer, Miss Rolda. Good morning, class. Okay, let me have a system check first. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Great. Who among you here are having difficulty with your internet connection? Let me know so that I can consider you. Oh, I understand. Make sure to catch up with our topic later, okay? Okay, let's proceed. Miss Secretary, you are not around today. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Do we have any assignments? If none, okay. Now, who wants to recapitulate our previous lesson? Yes, Mr. Paolo. Thank you, Mr. Paolo. I'm glad that you've learned a lot about literary devices because it plays a major role in our topic for today. Now, before we go through, let me first introduce to you our learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, students are expected to identify the literary devices used in the poem The Secret Heart by Robert Coffin. Explain the theme and symbolism used in the poem. Create a poem containing a message to their parent. Now I have here a picture. Try to figure out the message of those pictures. Okay, now what have you observed in those pictures? Yes, Mr. Kilar. Nice observation, Mr. Kilar. Now, what do you think is the relationship of those two persons? Yes, Mr. Labrico. Very good insight, Mr. Labrico. Now, have you ever slept beside your father? Yes, Ms. Mendoza. Okay, very good. Now, how much do you think your father loves you? Yes, Ms. Nadado. Thank you for sharing, class. I'm glad that you have a strong connection with your parents. It is true that nothing can weigh the love of them for us. In relation to that, today we will be discussing about the poem of Robert Coffin, entitled as The Secret Heart. You will know how fathers express their love to their children. But before that, let us first define the following terminology. The first one is stillest. Yes, Ms. Alemania. Okay, thank you. Stillest means undisturbed by anything. The next one is sire. Yes, Ms. Delis Reyes. Thank you. Sire is a respectful form of address for someone, like a king. Next is kindled. Yes, Mr. De La Cruz. Thank you. Kindled is arouse or inspire feelings. The fourth one is semblance. Semblance is the apparent form of something, or like resemblance, they are very similar to each other. The fifth one is shown. Yes, Mr. Kabuwag. Yes, very good. Shown is a glow or be bright in meaning. Kindly take note of those words as you will encounter them while reading the poem, okay? Now, before we go through our discussion about the poem, let us first know who is the poet who wrote that poem. Okay, he is Robert Peter Tristram Coffin. He was born March 18, 1892 and died on January 20, 1955. He was an American poet, educator, writer, editor, and literary critic. He was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for Poetry in 1936. He was the poetry editor for Yankee magazine. The Secret Heart is a poem by him, and it was written in the early 1900s and then republished many times. Now, let us have an activity. Who wants to read aloud the poem? Yes, Miss Oropesa. Now, kindly take note while Miss Oropesa is reading, okay? You may now proceed, Miss Oropesa. Okay, thank you, Miss Oropesa. Now, kindly answer those following questions and later you will share it to our class. You have 2 minutes to do that. Are you done, class? Okay, 1 minute left. Okay, time is up. Who wants to share their work? Who is the speaker of the poem? Yes, Miss Española. Very good. Now, what is the poem all about? Yes, Mr. Paulo. Okay, thank you. Now, why it is entitled as The Secret Heart? Yes, Mr. Habagat. Okay, very good insights, Mr. Habagat. It seems that you have now your idea about the poem. Now, we will have a group activity. I divided the class into 4 groups. And here are your group mates. Okay, kindly take note of those. And here are your group tasks. Group 1 will identify the setting, structure, and meter rhyme scheme of the poem. Indicate the number of the lines and stanza. While Group 2 will determine the tone and figurative languages used in the poem. Then identify the lines where it was presented. The Group 3 will identify the imagery used in the poem. Include the lines where it was shown. And Group 4 will determine and explain the symbolisms and theme used by the poet. While doing the activity, you will be guided by this rubric. And you only have 3 minutes to do that. Kindly work collaboratively, okay? Your time starts now. Okay, time is up now. You may now present your work. Group 1, present your work now. Okay, thank you, Group 1. Now, I have a question to you, Group 1. Based on those structure and measurements, what do you think is the style of the poet used in writing the poem? Okay, very well said, Group 1. Now, Group 2, you may now proceed. Thank you, Group 2. Now, I have here a question. What is the tone of these lines and its impact to you? He wore, it seemed, to his small son, a bare heart on his hidden one, a heart that gave out such a glow no sun away could bear to know. Okay, very good, Group 2. Now, let's proceed to Group 3. You may now present your work. Okay, Group 3. This is your question. How does this imagery contribute to the aesthetic value of the poem? Okay, very good, Group 3. Now, Group 4, the last group, but not the least, you may now proceed. Thank you, Group 4. Now, here's your question. How do the symbols and theme of the poem affect the feelings of the readers? Okay, thank you, Group 4. Very well said. All of you did a great performance today. Now, let us summarize your learnings. The first question is, what is the overall message of the poem and its implication to your life under this pandemic? Yes, Mr. Alda. Okay, thank you, Mr. Alda. Number 2 is, what was the secret have you discovered about yourself as a daughter or son under this pandemic? Yes, Mr. Molina. Very well said, Mr. Molina. The last question is, in our current situation, how pandemic affects your relationship with your parents? Yes, Ms. De Las Reyes. Okay, thank you, class. You have a lot of learnings today. Now, for your application, in a one-half sheet of paper, write a 3-stanza poem about your message to your parents. And later, you will share it to your classmates, okay? Are you done, class? That's great. Now, who wants to share your work to our class? Who wants to volunteer? Yes, Miss Mendoza. Okay, you have a good poem. Very good, Miss Mendoza. Now, I hope and I know that you have learned a lot about our lesson today, about the poem of Robert Coffin, The Secret Heart. Let's have our quiz now. Direction. Answer the following questions. The first one is, what is the subject of the poem? What does this line, a bare heart on his hidden one, wants to imply? And in line 20, what does the secret heart means? Number 4, describe the relationship of the father and son based on the poem. Number 5, choose your favorite line and explain its implication to you. Okay, I'll be posting a system on our Google Classroom and you may post your answer in those. Okay? Okay, now thank you. And here's your assignment. Make a line-by-line analysis of the poem, The Secret Heart, by Robert Coffin. Now, who has a question? Yes? Okay, you don't have questions now. That's all. Thank you for listening, class. I hope you have a great day today. And bring all the learnings because you will be needing those in the future. Okay? Thank you. And that's conclude our lesson for today.